Hey guys, so I wanted to make a quick update going over my character. This is now like day 3 of the launch now. We are currently rank 5 on the ladder, still pushing up, still getting quite high. I could probably push to rank 4, but catching up to these guys is probably like too hard at this point. Anyway, I want to show off my gear, my character, and my build, as I do think this is one of the best builds you can play currently. Definitely proven by the fact, my position on the ladder. So it's on the Deadeye on the ladder as well. And also my gameplay experience speaks for itself. So I want to show 2 quick clips real quick. This is a tier 15 boss. This is the highest tier map that can currently drop in the game, and he just gets completely melted. This build is really high damage, really insane. It's a really good boss killer and overall good mapper. So yeah, that boss was like 5 seconds or something. There's also another high tier map here. This is just a map clear if you want to see what it looks like. But yeah, tier 15 is the highest in the game, tier 16 if you corrupt it, and that boss was tier 15 and it stood absolutely no chance. It got frozen, stunned, and it's dead. So very strong build. If you're wondering, this is the post nerf version of the build. This build is actually in fact nerfed. So that clip you just saw was actually the post nerfed, and it was nerfed by 40% damage, and it's still that strong. So a very strong build. I want to go over it all. I also made a quick mobalytics guide that just shows the skill tree and links and all that, and also go over some frequently asked questions, of course. So yeah, map clear is like, I say decent speed. It's nothing like super fast, but it's also not slow. For PvE2 standards, I'd say it's pretty decent. As you can see, you shoot down your Lantern Rod, which is my right click right here, and then you press magnetic salvo. So overall, pretty good build. So yeah, let's quickly go over the build real quick. So gear real quick, just to hover it if you want to see it for yourself. Nothing special. You focus on life and resist and get rarity if you can. Get it 1 item with spirit, either on amulet or chest is nice. But yeah, my gear is nothing special. My gloves are probably the best piece, being triple res. I will say you really do want either like a few mana pieces, like a mana on gloves or mana on helmet or something, or mana on chest. And then having some form of mana on kill does help to sustain a lot of this build, because your salvo does cost a lot of mana, and there are a few ways to reduce this, which I'll talk about. We have 300 mana on my 750 mana pool. A few mana rolls help, and the mana on kill is also quite big. So first, let's go over how would you solve the mana issues if you don't have this much mana. So one of the things you could do is swap in inspiration on your magnetic salvo instead of heft. Inspiration gives you 40% reduced mana cost. That would completely solve your mana issues. Another thing you can do is also spec into mental toughness. This gives you mana regeneration and also reduce mana cost while not on low mana, which is like all the time, and some extra mana regen from the node before as well. So you get 28% mana regen and reduce mana cost. So yeah, these nodes help a lot as well. It's only 3 points to where we're pathing off of. That's the number 1 thing I keep hearing of. Number 2 thing is like, okay, when can I swap to this build? Can I swap to ASAP? The answer is yes. You can swap to this build as soon as possible, as soon as you get the gem, which is like level 50 something, or you can stay the typical Rain of Arrows, Lane Arrow build. Both builds are very exceptional, they're very strong. Both builds will clear white maps with absolutely no issue, but I do think for red maps this build is stronger because it has so much more single target damage. You can list bosses and rares instantly. Lightning Arrow is still completely fine to play forever. You can even play in the red maps, all the way up to the tier 15s. Your choice, but I do prefer this build just because the damage is a lot higher. So yeah, you can swap to this build whenever you want, or you can stick to the Rain of Arrows, Lightning Arrow build. Either one is fine, but I'm personally preferring this build right here. Also, one more question on the bow. You don't need a pure fizz bow. You just want the highest DPS bow you can get, preferably a +1 arrow base, but not needed. So a triple LE bow, so like fire, lightning, and cold damage on a prefix is also completely fine to use as well. This is just what I have. Getting fizz bows seem to be a little bit easier than getting chill LE bows from my experience. So yeah. Here's the passage tree real quick. Nothing too important here besides going over the fact that we are using acrobatics. So I found that having acrobatics for endgame red maps is kind of mandatory, because all the things that actually kill you in the game is generic AoEs, boss slams, on death explosions, stuff like that, which you can't dodge unless you have acrobatics. And now you may read this downside, but wow, that's a lot of evasion lost. But it's actually not too bad. As you can see, I'm still 53% evasion without Tailwind. And if I fully stack up my Tailwind to get more evasion from Tailwind, I go to 62% evasion. So even with this downside, you still have enough evasion to dodge attacks, and dodging these massive AoEs is very important for staying alive in red maps. It's not needed for white or yellow maps, so like Waystone maps from tier 1 to tier 10, but it's definitely needed for those red tier maps to actually stay alive. So yeah, I'll have the links in the description below, but the only important stuff here is having Herald of Thunder linked with Lightning Infusion, Herald of Ice linked with Cold Infusion, and then having Wind Dancer. You don't need Cannibalism, you don't need Clarity, and you don't need Vitality. So if you don't have the spirit, you can take these off. Probably take out capitalism and vitality. If you only have 100 spirit, so you just complete campaign, you have clarity with Wind Dancer, Held of Ice, and Held of Thunder with their respective infusions. Rain of Arrows is also not needed. I don't really press it that much. It's a little bit extra pre-boss damage, but yeah, not needed whatsoever. I also have an extra skill socket, but I have nothing to put here anyway. Escape shots, like whatever as well. All you're doing, your whole gameplay loop is just place down 15 rods, so I have 5 arrows. This shoots 5 arrows each. So I have +1 arrow for my bow and +1 arrow for my ascendancy. And I also have scatter shot on Leonard Rod, so it shoots 5 arrows. This means I shoot this 3 times. It places down 15 arrows. Then I press my magnetic salvo. This magnetic salvo hits, I believe, up to 16 rods. Right here, yeah, 16 missiles. So yeah, there's no point in going past 15 rods. If you have less plus arrows, so you don't have the bow, or you don't have your lab yet, then you need to press more rods. But yeah, I pressed it 3 times because this is 15 arrows, and this hits up to 16 rods. So press it more if you need to. That's only for bosses though. For map clearing, you can just press it once or twice, then press your magnetic salvo, and that's good enough for like any pack in the game, even rares as well. You just one-shot rares. So yeah, that's about it. I think that's about all the immediate questions or answers people may have. I do also have an FAQ sheet that I'll link down below that I constantly keep updated throughout the league. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I'm also streaming all the time on Twitch. I did another 20-hour session today, probably another 20-hour session tomorrow. But yeah, anyway, that's about it. If you have any questions, come join the stream. I'm always there. And do read the FAQ. It has a lot of important answers. I'll also have the Light Arrow build link down below as well.